is I think clarity comes from experience. And the only way to get experience is to take action. The only reason I can help someone in podcasting is because I've just taken more action and I have more experience.
You're never going to become a great podcaster without podcasting. But you also can, while podcasting once a week, in between the weeks, you can learn from other great podcasters.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1760, a common mistake when it comes to clarity. It's going to be a quick 15-minute episode. We had the team call right before that. We ran over because we do, and we have a new team member. Shout out to Steph. Awesome, great team call. But I got dinner with the fam tonight, and I told Taryn I was going to be done about 6. It's about 6:30 right now as of the time of recording this. I'm already a half hour behind. So we're going to aim for 15, and that way I don't get divorced. Everybody cool with that? All right. No, obviously that's not real, but I do want to make sure I'm not too late. Okay. I did a call with someone the other day. And these are always really challenging calls for me, and I'm sure it's similar for you. When I'm doing like a 30-minute breakthrough session with someone, I want to give them as much value as humanly possible, and I want them to leave with tactics, and you're off to the races. And this person said, so I always say, based on where you are and where you aspire to get to, what do you believe is the most valuable use of our time together today? I say that every time. I don't want to teach you something you already know. I don't want to teach you something that doesn't matter. Where do you want to go? And this person said, I have all these ideas, and I just don't know which one I should make my mission, my brand, my thing. And I said, all right, let's go through them. Let's list them all. I'll do the whiteboard, bada, 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 bada. And probably 20 minutes into this call, 20 minutes into this 30-minute call, I said to this person, I said, look, I know you feel like you need clarity to take action, but I think you are in a place right now where unless you take action, you're not going to get any clarity. And I know it feels like you need to see the spot that you're going to land on before you jump, but in this analogy and the way you're doing it, you're not really jumping, you're just taking another step. You're not really leaping off of a cliff. You're taking another step. And the beautiful thing is, you'll see the next step after that and the next step after that. I said it probably sounds like I am very, very clear on everything that I do, but you're seeing 7-year-in version of Kev. Not 1 or 2 or 3 like you. You're a couple years in. And this person said, I've had this idea for a couple of years and I just haven't pulled the trigger. And I said, that's because you've been waiting to find clarity in this stuff when in reality you got to get out there and start doing it. And I said, now everything seems in alignment. But 2 years in, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't really understand how things were going to work out. Now I understand if we want to get more clarity on how to do something, we have to do it. And we were just having a conversation about that on the team call. We were talking about how one of our clients wants us to write emails for them because they saw our emails that Jerry Ann does, and she said, this is amazing. I'd love for you to do this for me. And we were talking about how we just have to take action to figure out how that's actually going to work. We'll get more clear through action. So I think that's a common mistake. I know I've made that a ton in the past where when this lines up or when this happens or maybe when I get the answer to this question, a lot of the answers are in the action that we're not taking because we're afraid of not having the answers yet.
Yeah, it's like I don't have enough certainty. I don't have enough clarity to move forward. And what is clarity? Clarity is just certainty. I was on with a client earlier today. Shout out to my man, Bradley. Bradley, what's happening, brother? I don't know if he listens, but if you do, Bradley, what's up? He is in a career conundrum where he has 3 different paths that he wants to potentially take for the next chapter of his life. And we broke it down on Zoom, and I drew like a kindergartner with my mouse.
Naturally.
And we drew 3 paths. And we just strategized a little bit about the pros and cons of each path. And I think that it would be very easy for him to get lost in this time where he's just taking basically no action because he doesn't know the future. So he's like, well, what should I be doing with this time while I'm kind of waiting? Because These 3 career paths, by the way, are contingent on a couple different things. So there's a new leader coming in, and it could be one of 2 people. And if it's this person, he definitely doesn't want to go down that path. If it's this other person, he definitely does. So he's basically playing a waiting game. And he's like, well, what do I do in the meantime? And I said, retool. This should be a time to grow and to learn and to retool. And so he's doing different certifications, this, that, and the other thing. The problem in life is that we need clarity. Clarity is actually just certainty. And unfortunately, you're not going to get certainty until you embark into uncertainty. It's this weird conundrum that we get caught in.
Yeah.
When people say, well, I just need more confidence, what you're really saying is I need more certainty in my own abilities. When you're saying I lack clarity, I don't know what to do, you're basically saying I'm new to this and I'm uncertain that this is not going to work out well. You're essentially afraid of failure, or you're afraid of losing people. That's usually what it comes down to. You're afraid of failure, or you're afraid of success. So you're either afraid that this isn't going to work and you're going to be embarrassed, or you're afraid that it is going to work and you're going to have to lose people, leave people behind, outgrow people, whatever. And so we're stuck in this conundrum. On one end, you need clarity and certainty in order to take action. On the other end, the only way you get clarity and certainty is through taking action. And so you kind of have to just, whether you want to frame it as failing forward, or you want to frame it as fear chasing, or you want to frame it as messy action, all of those are just terms for, hey, you're never going to get clear until after you start doing it. Get off the fence. Nothing grows on the fence. We're doing Next Level Certified Coaching, and I said this very blatantly. I did Next Level Certified Coaching earlier, and it's me, Nicole, Jerry Ann, and Amy, and I'm coaching on how to coach, and we talked about sales and how sales is really just influence, assuming you're not an unintegrous, horrible human. It's just positive influence, and you have to mitigate fears and increase desire if you want someone to sell. So if you're not taking action, you have too much uncertainty, aka fear, and not enough certainty that you actually want the outcome. And so in sales, that's what you do. You increase someone's desire based on truth and accurate data. Hey, if you do this, I'm pretty certain you're going to be grateful you did it. Boom, boom, boom. And here's the reasons, X, Y, Z. Hey, I know you're afraid of ZWY, but we can mitigate that with X, Y, Z. So now all of a sudden you lower their fear, you increase their desire, boom, action is taken. Or you increase their courage because you can't mitigate the fear. It is what it is. Hey, let's do this. And so ultimately that's a little sales training right there. But my point is that we all get stuck in, well, it's not the right time. When in reality, that's actually usually a mask for fear. And so you kind of have to just say, you know what? I'm unclear. And the only way that I'm going to get more clear is if I give it a shot. And I was a fitness coach, and I was a mindset coach, and I was a life coach, and I was a peak performance coach, and I was a business consultant. And it took me 7 years of coaching over 100 people at this stage to figure out, with thousands of coaching sessions, to figure out that I actually want to do business coaching. And I never could have figured that out by contemplating on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean contemplating on a whiteboard. Last thing, Kev. Kevin and I have had hundreds, if not thousands of times where we've been in front of a whiteboard trying to gain clarity. So you get in front of a whiteboard, you contemplate, and you get as much clarity as you can, and then you go, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
And then you give it a shot, and you get experience and new knowledge and new awareness and new learning and new lessons and new failure and new challenges. And then you go back to the whiteboard and you go, well, that didn't go so well. What about this? And then you give that a shot. And then it does go well. It's like, ooh, let's double down on that. And so this is the process. It took me 7 years to figure out I want to be a business coach. And maybe in 7 more years I won't be, but I think I will. I think I've landed on it. But I also thought that the other times. So
yeah. Oh, I wouldn't be a coach if I didn't start. I wouldn't be a podcast coach if I didn't start coaching in a way that I didn't really enjoy. I didn't really like doing mindset, peak performance. I didn't like that. That wasn't it. And I remember telling you, I was like, dude, I don't know if coaching's for me. And then eventually it was, okay, this podcast thing is happening. Tara and I have a couple that we hang out with occasionally, Amy and Jack. And one time we were over, we got dinner, and they were like, hey, do you want to play Clue? You ever played Clue? And I was like, no, I've never played Clue. Explain it to me.
That's awesome.
Explain it to me.
It
And
was
they're like,
Mr. Plum in the
don't give it
billiards
away.
room
Don't give it
with
away.
the candlestick.
How do you play? Well, you roll a dice. At first, you're given a bunch of cards, and you ultimately have to solve a murder. You roll some dice. You end up in different rooms. And I get to the point where people are explaining things to me where I say, honestly, I just got to play. That's the only way I'm going to learn. I got to play. And
Nice.
I think that's a really good way of thinking about it. We're probably going to play gin rummy tonight after we eat dinner with
Big
Pops.
fan.
We play gin.
Big
Same
fan.
thing. Pops, how do you play? And he was explaining it. I was like, honestly, deal them out. Deal them out. Shuffle them and deal them out. I'm not going to be able to learn unless I understand that, yes, I can probably gain some supplemental clarity, but I need to get some experience under my belt. I think oftentimes lack of clarity is lack of experience. Last thing on this point. I have no idea what's going on with my hamstrings. You ever get that terrible pain behind your knees when you squat down for too long?
Emilia does. I don't. For me, it's the front of my kneecap. I got nothing.
It has been debilitating. When I squat down for a couple minutes to clean the litter box, I almost can't stand up because the back of my knee hurt, but my hamstring where it connects to my calf hurts so bad.
Damn.
And I've been doing a ton of research. As I do. When I get injured, I'm physical therapy things, whatever. Yoga, do I need to be more mobile? What's going on here? I don't know what the hell is going on. I went and did legs yesterday because I was like, honestly, I can't wait anymore. I'm sick of waiting, and I'm sick of trying stuff, and I'm sick of doing research. Nothing's working. I'm going to go see if I can actually do a leg day because I'm just unclear. I don't have clarity on whether or not I can even do the exercises I want, and I'm out here waiting until my leg feels better. The legs. I had a great leg day. No pain. Zero. Now, today I'm in a lot of pain. But it doesn't hurt when I do legs that way, so that clarity for me
That's
is
new data.
It's new data. It's new data. So I got to figure out what to do about that. But I got to the point where I said I would rather have accurate information on what's actually happening. I'd rather go to the gym and have to leave because it hurts than skip leg day again because I don't know if I can do it or not. Sometimes when we think about it, we overthink the uncertainty. Mm-hmm. Well, what if this happens? What if this happens? It might happen, but you'll never know what's going to happen until you take action first, and then you're going to get some layer or some level of clarity. And it was really nice to see this unfold when I was talking to this person because I got to the end of the call and I was kind of like, that really wasn't super valuable. I feel like I didn't add that much value to the person. And I said, was that good? Do you feel like you took value away? And they said, this was life-changing because I've just been stuck on the fence this whole time. And for me, it wasn't super powerful, but sometimes it takes somebody else to show you something that you've been looking at for 2 years and just say, hey, I think you've gotten all the clarity you can get. You have a list of this 15 things. The problem is you have a list of 15 things and none of these have become real in the real world yet. Of course you don't feel clear.
NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes. At NLU, all of us have a word for the year, and Kevin's is finality. I always think of fatality in Mortal Kombat back in the day. Finality. And the reason why he chose that word, correct me if I'm wrong, Kev, is he was sick of being on the fence about stuff.
Sick of overthinking stuff. I just want to make a choice and accept the positive/negative that comes with it. Oh, okay, that's what we're going to do? You and I had a conversation right before this episode, and I was like, yeah, cool, good. Done. It's gone. It's out of my brain. Will positive come? Sure. Is there potential negatives? Absolutely. But yeah, cool. Let's do it. Let's move forward. So yes.
You mentioned something earlier via text. You're experimenting.
Yes.
You audioed me and you said, yeah, I just wanted to experiment. And I said, oh, you are quite the scientist.
Something like that.
And that's what a scientist does is they do a bunch of experiments to see what works and what doesn't work. You need to think and you need to analyze, you need to contemplate, you need to research. I'm with you. You don't want to go to Mount Everest
Right.
having, not done any research. But you also don't want to do Mount Everest not having ever climbed. You have to climb the mountain, do research, then climb the mountain, then contemplate. So I have something called the learning loop that I think is unbelievably powerful. It's humble curiosity. So Kev hurts his knee. Humble curiosity. Okay, what the hell's going on with my knee? I'm humble
Knees.
enough to know that I don't know what the hell's going on.
Both
Let
of
me
them,
do some
Alan.
research.
Alan, both of them.
Both
knees.
knees.
Both knees, same
That's-
time.
Sucks.
Yeah.
New knowledge is gained from humble curiosity. So you learned something. What did you learn about your knees?
I learned a lot. I learned oftentimes a torn ACL, meniscus mostly, can bring pain in the back of the knee. And if any physical therapists are listening and I'm incorrect, that's on me. Maybe I learned some bad information. But yeah, I learned that. It could be arthritis. I learned a lot of stuff. Some exercises, some soft, mobile, some tissue mobilization.
Okay, but eventually you gain all this new knowledge, and then what?
If anything, I'm less clear now. Honestly, I'm less clear because there's more options.
Yep. And now you have to make a new choice. That's step 3. So number 1 is humble curiosity. Number 2 is new knowledge. And number 3 is new choice. You have to make a choice. And then when you make a choice, you get a new experience. And when you get a new experience, then you have new reflection. You reflect on that experience. So you go do leg day. You're like, okay, that went really well.
Mhm.
Nice. And then the next day it's like, ooh, okay, still there. Doesn't make any sense. Then you go back to humble curiosity and you do research again. Number 1 is humble curiosity. Number 2 is new knowledge. Number 3 is new choice. Number 4 is new experience. And number 5 is new reflection. That's the learning loop. You're never going to become a great podcaster without podcasting. But you also can, while podcasting once a week, in between the weeks, you can learn from other great podcasters. You can accelerate the snowball, but you can't skip steps. I've been saying that a lot in my coaching. You want to start a business, I can teach you, but you have to also start the business. You have to be on the field every Sunday in this sports analogy. And yeah, I can coach you, but you got to be on the field. You got to implement I can't just coach. You have to implement and then coach, and then implement and then coach, and then implement and then coach. Reading books is great, but it's not going to... No one ever got successful from just reading books. They had to also implement what was in the book. And so, yeah, it's simple, but it's so overlooked. And at the end of the day, do you have... A lot of people, there's a scale of risk aversion. It's a bell curve. And Kev was very risk averse. I was very reckless. And I think that you're reckless in certain athletic endeavors for sure. But you were risk averse when it came to business and failure and success. Mm-hmm. And although I do think you were reckless with money too. But anyways, so you're a weird
case study.
Yeah, I don't think I should use you. 0 to 10, how risk averse are you? So 10 would be you need 10 out of 10 clarity to do anything. 0 means you're reckless and you're just like, screw it, let's do it. If you are a 5, risk averse, that means you need level 6 clarity in order to move forward. And so maybe you hire a coach who gives you a little bit of clarity and guidance, or if needs, hire a physical therapist. Now you have more clarity. Now you can move forward. So at the end of the day, it depends on you. But ultimately, you're going to have to eventually make a choice and move forward. And I do think that successful people, I'm just going to say this, they do have a bias toward action. I don't know if you've noticed this, and I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I also want to use me as an example. I don't sit on the fence about much very long.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, let's just do this. Let's give it a shot. Let's go. Let's do it. And messy action, erring on the side of action, having a bias toward action. Emilia and I do this all the time behind the scenes. Are we going to the gym tonight, or are we going for a walk? Are we going to go to the track? Like, I need to know so we can move forward. Momentum is so important, and you lose momentum when you're constantly contemplating, but you also need to contemplate in between. So it's a duality. You have to do both.
It's another challenging episode because if you're taking a ton of action, maybe you do need to take a step back and look from 30,000 feet. But if you're only looking from 30,000 feet, it's... If you're building... Let's say you're building a stadium it's really good to get a 30,000 foot view of that stadium. Well, this is what it's going to look like. This is where the parking lot is. This is where the entrance. All right, we have to pave this. Awesome. But eventually you have to go land the helicopter and then get down on the ground and tell people like, all right, this is kind of what we came up with. Let's make this a reality now.
Then you have to go back up in the helicopter, though.
Well, you kind of rinse and repeat. But that's why these episodes are always so challenging, because there is no one truth. If you're on the ground every day doing it, maybe it's time to step back and take a 30,000 foot view. If you're 30,000 feet up, maybe it's time to go down to the ground and start moving stuff around and see what happens. But I think that would be my lesson for myself in this episode, is I think clarity comes from experience. And the only way to get experience is to take action. The only reason I can help someone in podcasting is because I've just taken more action and I have more experience. So I can look and say, you don't have the experience in this yet. You need to go do that, and then you'll get this experience, and then these are the results you might get, and bada bing, bada boom. So that would be my takeaway from me here.
Last thing, I do, like I mentioned, Next Level Certified Coaching, and I said it's time to get off the fence.
Yeah.
I need to know. So Amy and Lizzie are both already coaching. Nicole and Jerry-Ann aren't yet, and it's because they're overwhelmed. But Nicole just did her first session where she's actually coaching Amy, and Amy's a pretend client, just so she can start figuring out. I told them this. You might hate it.
Yeah.
You might absolutely hate it. So if that's the case, let's figure that out sooner rather than later, so you don't waste any more of your time. Right? None of us have extra time. We really, time is the most valuable asset. So if you're sitting on the fence, just remember this. Nothing grows on the fence. Nothing grows on the fence. You have to make a choice, and we're so afraid to make the wrong choice that we make no choice, which is the worst choice. Momentum. I mean, I regret some of the choices that I didn't have the courage to make, because I just wasted time.
Same. And that's why finality was my word. To make a decision and go with it and accept the consequences and beneficial byproducts. And that's what I'm trying to do more and more and more. Next Level Nation, if you want to get a little bit better every single day, again, just a little bit better, you're not going to change everything overnight. Make sure you are subscribed on whatever podcast platform you are listening on, or if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe there so you never miss an opportunity to get closer to the next level. We'd appreciate that very, very much. Sir, what do you have? Sorry.
Huh?
I said, sir, what do you have? Because you were looking at me weird. Sorry, okay. Sorry again. It's my bad.
We have a new announcement. And so Next Level University is not only the brand, but it's also the business. And it's this podcast. Life, love, health, and wealth. You know that. It's self-improvement. It's fulfillment. It's self-awareness. It's self-belief. It's self-worth. It's all the stuff. It's holistic self-improvement in your pocket from anywhere on the planet, completely free. Kevin has a podcast called Podcast Growth University. So if you want to grow yourself, Next Level University is the place. If you want to grow your podcast, Podcast Growth University is the place. And I'm starting a podcast called Business Growth University.
Nice.
So we now have the triangle. If you want to grow yourself, Next Level U is the place. Pun intended. If you want to grow your podcast, Podcast Growth U is the place. If you want to grow your business, Business Growth U is going to be the place. I don't have a launch date yet, but I do know it's going to happen. I'm going to be doing an episode a week similar to Kev. And if you're a podcaster who wants to grow your podcast, reach out to Kevin, do a free session with him. I was on a podcast 2 days ago, and Guinevere wanted to get on with Kev. He will help you not skip steps. He will help you not step on as many landmines as we did. Business, same deal. If you want to start a business, want to grow a business, want to scale a business, my youngest is 16, my oldest is 63. Anywhere from, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel, I'm brand new, to I've been in business for 2 decades and I'm a multimillionaire. I've coached everything in between. The first session's completely free. If you want to grow your podcast, reach out to Kev. You want to grow your business, reach out to me.
I'm convinced nobody does as many free calls as we do, and I like that. I respect that. I'm not hyping us, but I enjoy that. I enjoy the fact that we do free calls, because if I was somebody who is in the community, I would want to do a free call to connect with someone before I did anything else. So I respect that about you.
I love meeting the listeners, man. I think
Same.
In hindsight, that was probably the most important thing we've ever done.
I would agree. I said that today on a podcast.
Yep.
I said I used to give my cell phone number out, and I would hop on FaceTimes with people. And the host was talking about like, oh, that's how you got clients. I said, no, there was no services. There was no products. I wasn't coaching. I was just trying to get to know people. I thought that would be valuable. That's why we did it.
It was
super valuable.
Yep.
In retrospect. All right. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Take action with courage. Next Level Nation.